Welcome back to the second video of the Germanic Peoples hobby project. This time we're covering the Cavalry section. So these are the final models. Here I go through how to build it, which is a pretty simple kit bash using Victrix models, and then finally how to paint the horse itself using a particular method. I've posted other ones up earlier, but this one's slightly, maybe one step up from that. So starting off using the two kits, the Vikings and the Gallic Cavalry. Essentially the part that is very anachronistic are the saddle and the upper torso. I can't really do much about the saddle. I guess you could do something with green stuff, but it doesn't really bother me too much. It's relatively small detail. So I'm going to focus on just getting the torso correct, and then to make it a little bit more Germanic looking. Starting off scoring the body to make it easier to clip off, so that when you do use the clippers, it doesn't deform parts that you want to keep. So I scored the area and maybe cut into it maybe 1 millimeter or so around the belt, and then just using the flat part of the clippers towards what you want to not destroy. Just cut off the rest, and then it comes off relatively quickly. You'll see that you have basically like a skirt of deformed plastic around the bottom, so just cut that down a little bit using a scalpel, so that it doesn't look strange once you paste it on. Here, sorry about the out of focus stuff, but just cleaning up the model in preparation for putting it on the legs. The Gallic kit comes with a set of legs that are basically separate from the body, and then a number of legs which are attached to the body. Essentially here you just do exactly the same, except for you keep the legs and you throw away the torso. So nice little Viking guy with a impressive beard. So here we're moving on to, just for simplicity, I'm taking the legs that are separate from the Gallic kit. So just cleaning it up a little bit, nothing too exciting, and scoring the top side of it just to make sure that the plastic glue adheres to it and creates a nice little bond between the torso and the legs themselves. So plastic glue here helps to kind of close off any gaps. So I use quite a lot of it, but it really saves. You don't have to mess around with green stuff or anything like that. And here, when you put it on, just make sure that the sides are all lined up properly, so there doesn't seem to be any large gaps or anything like that. You don't see the front of the model as much, so if you have to make a choice between making the front or the back look more reasonable, focus on the back. The front side will be largely covered by the horse's neck and by the shield anyway, so it's pretty difficult to see down there. So that's it, and then just put on the arms from the Vikings kit or any other kit that you want to use, and here is your model. Moving on to painting the horse itself. Here I'm using my trusty method of a black primer and then zenithal highlight, also using a rattle can using the army painter for brown. Here spraying from about 45 degrees angle, maybe a little bit larger angle, and the first coat that I use is Vallejo orange brown. The reason I do this is I see a lot of cavalry armies which are very, very dark, and it basically looks like a blob of dark brown. Going this method gives you actually a pretty light horse color, and also means that you can get a lot of variations depending on what you do. The orange brown is not very opaque, so adding a little bit of water just gives you a very easy way of adding lots of low glazes. As you can see, the brush I'm using is a number 3 in not particularly good state. doesn't really matter. We're just doing blocking in large surfaces, using a reasonable amount of water, and then just every time the layer dries, just going over it again on the areas that you want a little bit more pigment on, and just going back and forth 2 or 3 times over each area until you reach the color that you want. So here I'm hitting all the upper surfaces and leaving the black primer and the fur brown in the crevices. So I've painted the socks and the mane and the tail with Rakarth flesh, and here you can already kind of stop if you want, but I'm just going to take it one step further, adding in a little bit of dead white with the orange brown and a reasonable amount of water, using the same large brush, just hitting the highest areas. This is so diluted that even if you do something wrong, you can either just dab it away with using your finger like I did just here, or just completely ignore it, and it's not really going to be visible until you add 2 or 3 extra layers. So this is a pretty soothing way of painting horses, I think, and I've managed to get through quite a few horses quickly. And basically it becomes quite easy to recognize where you have to put the highlights, and you can also stipple a little bit for some extra texture if you don't like it. It's wet enough that you can just kind of blend it away straight away. So it's a pretty easy method. I sped this up about 2 times. In total, it takes about 5 minutes per side, so 10 minutes total per horse, which is pretty reasonable for the results. And then you can finally add on all the details, the saddles, the straps, etc., however you like. Anyway, hope this was helpful, and talk to you soon.